Welcome back to my channel, and today's video we're going to be talking all about why you should study sociology instead of psychology. Obviously this is going to be my opinion, and I'm also going to be using the University of Bath as a reference point because that is where I studied, and I've also heard things from friends who study psychology, so I'm just using that as well as my own experience in sociology and my own thought process in why I chose sociology versus psychology. So let's get into it. So reason number one as to why you should do sociology over psychology is if you are not that interested or that great at science. So that's the biggest, probably most influential reason as to why I chose at A-level to do sociology over psychology, because I just disliked science so much, like biology, chemistry, physics. I just couldn't, like, I was okay at it, like I passed, I did okay, you know, but I didn't love it and I couldn't fathom doing it for the next like 3 years. So that's why I went for sociology in the end, because initially psychology sounded really interesting, and it is really interesting still to this day, I think, and it has a lot of overlaps. But in terms of actually studying the subject, I found it too sciencey for me when I looked at like the perspectives for A-level, and also when I'm going to show you some modules that you could be studying in sociology degree, in psychology degree at Bath. If we actually look at the website for Bath for psychology degree, you'll read this. You'll develop a solid understanding across this subject by studying a broad range of advanced topics. You will also learn about how psychology engages with other disciplines such as management, neuroscience, political science, and psychiatry. As you can see here, the subjects mentioned, neuroscience, political science, and psychiatry, that is all very like medicine based, and that just screamed science to me, especially the neuroscience bit and cognitive, like behavioral science and stuff like that. Like, it's super interesting, but at like a studying level, I don't think I could do it. So if you're not into science, I don't think you should do psychology, but take it with a pinch of salt. But on the other hand, sociology is a lot less traditional and sciencey, and there is a whole debate about whether sociology is a science, you know, whereas psychology, you could probably say, yeah, that's a science, right? But whether sociology is a science or not is a debate within sociology as well, which is a bit annoying. But you will be given more opportunity to do more like soft, I don't want to say soft, but like qualitative research instead of purely statistics and quantitative research. However, both are really helpful if you're going to be applying for jobs afterwards, because in my current role as a UX designer, I do a lot of research. We use statistics. We look at analytics and data to define like what we want to solve and how we want to solve the problems for our users. So whatever path you go down, it is going to be super useful for you in the future. It's just a matter of which one you prefer more. Do you like science? Do you not? So my second reason why you should choose sociology over psychology is because it's more holistic. So if we look at the course content for 2023 entry for psychology at the University of Bath, you can see these are the units that you'll be able to study: applying psychology, mind, brain and behavior, psychology of well-being, research methods and design, cognitive neuroscience. And you can tell from these options and units that they are focused more on the individual mind, brain and behavior. This is focused on like the kind of individual brain, what it does, how it affects your behavior and stuff. Obviously that's all very interesting, but that's really just focused on that one person, or like the concept of one individual. You're not really looking beyond that. Again, you can see cognitive neuroscience, developmental psychology, all very interesting stuff, but it's all very like sciencey, all very focused on what is. You know, you're not trying to disprove things, you're trying to investigate, which is still very interesting, you know, like the world around us is super interesting, fascinating, lots of things we haven't discovered yet. However, that's just something to keep in mind, and that is a bit more like individual based. However, if you look at the sociology course content, you can see that it's a lot more holistic, you know, social problems, social change, and say. So it's more about like society thinking beyond that individual, because we as individuals are influenced by the structure and the system of society around us. We're influenced by culture. We influence culture. We influence society. So the relationship is like symbiotic, if I'm using that in the right way. And you can see that reflected in the course content. So contemporary sociological theory, sociology and beyond, and you have a ton of optional modules, as with psychology as well. So you can learn about conflict and security, war, race and racism, poverty, population, social inequalities, welfare, social change, making modern society, all very interesting stuff. But you can see the difference is less, thinking about just one person. And we're more thinking in sociology about how things are interdependent and rely on each other, affect each other, influence each other. And obviously there are social theorists who lean more towards like structuralism, or like action theories, more the individual sides. So, there's a bit of both and everything. And I have made a video on both theories, so you can check them out in the card up here and on my channel. My third reason for choosing sociology over psychology is that it requires a lot more critical thinking, in my opinion. Don't come for me. If you want to roast me or comment me, do it in the comments. If you think that you also think critically in psychology as well. But I'm talking about this from the angle of, in sociology, you're thinking about all the different ways that you can interpret the way we are, ontology versus epistemology, how we view the world, like what the world is versus how we can gain that knowledge. So already you can see the big difference there. How we gain the knowledge in psychology, you're going to be doing a lot of lab work, you're going to be doing a lot of observations, investigations, things like that. But you're not really questioning about how those methods will influence your findings in a way. I mean, you probably would. What I'm trying to say there is that, you're working under the traditional medical discourse. So especially when you think about psychiatry, the lab, cognitive neuroscience and things, you're working under the framework of science. Whereas sociology, you're encouraged to think outside of how we've always thought. And that's what really encouraged me to open my eyes about how the world really works, if I can say that. And just thinking about how we are affected by everything around us and thinking beyond the bounds of what we are told is true in the media and things, you really become more self-aware, more aware of the world around you, I believe, when you study sociology, because you're so much more empathetic to what other people go through, a lot of this challenges in society and how it really, affects us. And I thought I'd slip in a bonus section about job opportunities for psychology and sociology. So I've taken this from the University of Bath's website page for psychology as well, so you can look it up. But yeah, it says a psychology degree can prepare you for clinical counseling, health, educational, market research, and occupational roles. They also value in communications, management, police work, and social research. And they say that recent graduates have gone into HM Treasury, which is like civil service, government work, Mind, which is a mental health charity, the NHS, which is the National Health Service, school, SEN school, I'm not sure what that is, Unilever, which is a massive multinational corporation. But yeah, you're really free to choose wherever you want to go, as with sociology as well. However, a lot more professional psychology roles require further training. And I've covered this in one of my job videos as well, which I will link here and show you here, because that's one of the stats that I found that, one of the stereotypes is that social science and psychology graduates, sociology graduates, can't find jobs after university. And the stats apparently prove this. However, if you think about it, though, it makes sense, because a lot of the roles that psychology students get into, for example, law, counseling, psychiatry, you are often needed to have an extra qualification or a master's on top. So it makes sense why they wouldn't be employed straight after work. So yeah, you got to think into these stats a bit more. As for sociology career opportunities, I think I have a playlist on them. If not, I'll show them here. And I've also talked in depth about my role as a sociology graduate and a UX product designer. So, that's all there. But at a glance, Sociology Bath says that many of our social science graduates have gone into work as social and policy researchers, civil servants, international consultants, journalists, and accountants. They've gone on to work in government departments, social enterprises and charities, European and international agencies and organizations, social care, international development, public policy consultancy. So this job section is very social, civil service focused job thing. But as you can see from the rest of my videos about sociology graduate job opportunities, you are literally not limited at all. Obviously, you can't do medicine and stuff, but if you're doing sociology, you're likely not going to want to do that anyway. So you'll be absolutely fine. In terms of job opportunities, you're going to be absolutely fine. But yeah, of course, psychology and sociology are both super, super interesting subjects, but it really depends on what you as an individual want to study and what you are good at and interested in. Because if you're not good at or interested in the subject that you're going to be studying, either at A level or degree level, otherwise you're just going to regret it. Basically, it's going to be a lot of hard work, a lot of effort that you are not motivated to put in. Both courses at Bath, psychology and sociology, are really flexible. You can choose different optional modules. So I had a course mate on my sociology course that geared her optional modules towards psychology and marketing. So that's what she wanted to do, that's what she could do. So you're really not limited, especially if you have a really flexible course like I did at Bath. I literally did a whole year of Italian. Like, that's how flexible it was. Hopefully it was helpful in deciding what you want to study. If you have any questions regarding sociology or psychology, let me know in the comments below, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.